Welcome to the iNetrepreneur Radio Show. We are so honored to bring you your host, the ultimate celebritypreneur, connecting businesses and celebrities worldwide. Winner of the Networking Organization of the Year, best-selling author, magazine publisher, trainer, and owner and founder of Network Together and the iNetrepreneur Media Network from magazines, TV, and radio network, we're excited to bring you your host, Mr. Robert W. Jones.
Well, hi, everyone. I hope you're doing well today. It is another wonderful Thursday on the iNetrepreneur Network, and I'm excited. I missed out last week. I was doing some self-care, and so I wasn't able to be on the show last week, so I apologize about that. But sometimes, you can do for the world, but sometimes you actually just have to do for yourself. And my back said no, even though my heart said yes. But I am here this week, and I am excited that everyone is here with us today, and I'm really excited about our show. I cannot wait to get to our guest, but I want to get to a little bit of housekeeping first, because if I don't, my wife would probably come up and wring my neck if I don't talk about what's going up here pretty soon. We have the Unchain Yourself Professional Women's Conference coming up on July 28th from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. This is an in-person event, and everyone, in Gilbert, Arizona. We have our speakers, we have our panels, we have a lot of giveaways, we have 8 things that women need to be uber successful. And we have, tactable, tangible takeaways for each and every person that comes to the conference. Now, I want you to know, this doesn't mean if you're a man, that means you get to sit on the sideline. That means come in and support, be a part of this. I mean, a lot of men out there are actually like me. I was raised by a single mom. I have a respect for women, probably more so than many men that are in my peer group. My mom is a PhD in curriculum instruction, and believe me, if I didn't speak right, she would let me know right. So at any rate, please come out to this event at July 28th. We're going to have 160 people in attendance. We're going to fill the place up, and I'm so happy to be helping promote this event with my wonderful wife, Shawn Jones, the CEO of the iNetrepreneur Network. I also want to remind everyone that you can reserve a specific date in the forthcoming #1 international best-selling book series, The Art of Connection. Our first book was The Art of Connection, 365 Days of Networking Quotes. Our second book is The Art of Connection, 365 Days of Inspirational Quotes. And our third book, which will be coming out in December of this year, barring any supply chains and any COVID and any other things that could be coming on, because last year it was, this year came out in January, the year before it was in February, but I guarantee we're going to do it this year. We're going to bring it out before Christmas of this year. It's the 365 Days of Transformational Quotes. We already have over 150 authors signed up. The pages are going very, very quickly. We have a robust affiliate program. If you're looking to bring in your community as well, light them up. Let them show their voice to the world. It's a great community. So far, we have over 160 first-time international best-selling authors. We have 600 authors in the community. And, and I was talking to our guest a moment ago. One thing you need to know is if you have a badge on your book and you put #1, you have to hit a #1 marker in Amazon, or any other funnel of credibility to achieve that. Because if you don't have a #1, if you're 10 or you're 35 or you're 40 and you're saying a best-selling author, they will kick you right out of there. You have to actually be an official #1, like best-selling book in small business or hot new release or something like that. And that's what these books have achieved. So just saying it right now, it's regularly priced for a reserved page. That means it could be your birthday or an anniversary, or maybe the day you got your PhD. Who knows? Pick a day that means something to you. It's regularly $550, but right now we have an early bird special for $197. Also, I want to remind everyone about our Academy classes, events, summits, networking chapters, both in person and virtual. You can go to ntevents.net. That's ntevents.net to get more information there. And believe it or not, do you see that? We put on over 1,000 meetings and events each and every year through the iNetrepreneur Network. Thank goodness my wife is a CEO and does operations, because I could never stay on top of all that. Also, go to Facebook, like us at iEntrepreneur Radio, like our network. Also, our magazine. We have about 47,000 subscribers now, and these are people who have opted in to hear the words that our writers say. So, enough of that housekeeping. I'm going to get on with it because I would love it, and I'm so excited to bring our guest of the hour, Dr. Brittany McCoy. How are you, Dr. Brittany McCoy?
Hello, Robert. Such a pleasure to be here. Thank you for the opportunity.
Absolutely. I mean, I had the worst problem I could ever do. I was like, you have a curriculum vitae that just goes on and on and on and on. And I thought, you have to be about 85 and you use the best new skincare product ever or something. Because I was just like, how can you accomplish this much stuff? And so I'm making your banner. I'm getting a few of your credentials on there. I'm getting a couple of different organizations that you founded or co-founded, and then I have to go and introduce you. So what I want to say is welcome Dr. Brittany B Mccoy. She's a mom, a pharmacist, a wellness coach, entrepreneur, keynote speaker, and #1 international best-selling author as a part of the Art of Connection book series. And I'm so happy that you're here today. How are you, Dr. Brittany?
I am fine, and it is definitely such a pleasure to be here. Oh my goodness. I love
And what I love is, you know, you know, you have great academic pedigree. You have great vision. You have a great ability to see a world in a holistic way, and not everyone can. But you know what for me, and this is the little secret, what I love about you most is you proved it right now. You have the heart of a champion. You know, and the one things that champions do, whether it's raining or snowing or windy or cold or whatever, you improvise, you overcome, you adapt, you just show up. And, and I love it. Here you are, you're in your car, putting this a part of your busy workday. And I just want to say thank you for that.
man. Well, thank you so much for the compliment, but absolutely, thank you guys so much for the opportunity. What you and Shane have done amazing things, and I'm so honored to be a part of what you guys have going on, and it's just phenomenal. So thank you.
Well, I sing your praises. My undergraduate degree was business with a minor in psychology. My master's was exercise physiology and sports psychology. I didn't necessarily go the path that I want. I actually, for most of my life, I call myself a recovering programmer. Believe it or not, I was very right-brained and left-brained. And, sometimes I think when you're an entrepreneur, you have to have a little bit of both. And, and then when you start diving into medicine on top of that, and the psychology of it, and the biology of it, and the pharmacology of it, I mean, you almost have to go and live in this matrix or not, and that's really what you've built yourself into. And one of the things I like to tell the members of our organization is, it doesn't always start out that way, but one thing that we all have is our gifts given from God. you
Absolutely.
know and what I believe you've done is you found, many pathways to get those gifts utilized and shed light for others, where others haven't seen it. You know, but what I really want to do, and I like to do this at the beginning of each show, because this is the first time you've been on the iEntrepreneur Network radio show, is I really want to go to, the who you are, first. Tell us a little bit of those, like the first 5 or 6 years, maybe your parents, or, your extended family, or, some early schools and interests you have. What was it like for a 5 or 6 year old Dr. Brittany McCoy when she was exploring the world for the first time?
Sure. So I am actually a first generation college student, let alone I'm the first person to go to
My
college.
feed might have went out. So, Dr. Brittany, what I was asking was, um, what was life like, like in your younger days, like let's say elementary school or even preschool?
Sure. So I'm a first generation college student. I'm the first person to go to college to get my doctorate
Mhm.
and to forward with that. So with that being said, I'm the oldest of six. My mom was in the military, and that really gave me a lot of responsibilities early on. And so I grew up in the country part of North Carolina. We grew up out in the country where literally the whole neighborhood is aunts, uncles, cousins, and so forth. And so mom would always say, you want to be a doctor or lawyer when you get older so that you can make good money and you don't have to worry about things when you get older and start a family and so forth. So, that's what really drew me into, okay, what do I want to be when I get older? And so when I was a kid, I was thinking, I don't want to be a lawyer because if somebody really committed the crime or whatever, I couldn't see myself defending them. But now I know there's different kinds of lawyers. But
Yeah.
back to little old me, right? So then I was like, okay, a doctor. What kind of doctor could I be? So let's think about it. I'm a woman. Eventually, I want to have a family. What type of doctorate could I get that wouldn't require such a heavy workload? So then I really dumbed it down to becoming a dentist initially, and so that's what I wanted to do. And with life's turn of events, one year, the year that I was studying for my dental program, my mom deployed, and I had to kind of go back home and kind of help out and do different things. Well, I applied to pharmacy schools as a plan B, and I got into
Mhm.
all the pharmacy schools, and I didn't get into the dental program because when I was supposed to study for my test, there was one area that I was low in, and you had to get every single area up to a certain threshold. And so life just put me into pharmacy, and that kind of landed me to where I am here today.
Well, and what I love about that, I grew up in Texas, and so I know what like the extended community. I know what it's like to be around the family, and it's like every other person's probably related to you in some way because I'm from a small town in Texas, Garland, and in North Carolina, I have cousins in North Carolina. My one of my cousins owned a restaurant in Nashville, North Carolina, and my aunt worked for the FDIC in South Carolina. Love the area, and it's beautiful. But one of the things that I love is when you're talking pharmacy or you're talking a dentist, and I'm talking female. And you really, even right now, you don't see a lot of female pharmacists, a lot of female dentists. We're starting to see more doctors coming in general practice, and we're starting to see a lot of psychologists and very much the mental health areas. But when we're talking kind of the pharmacology area, and I say this too because I used to be an internet marketer. I used my programming skills to create marketing algorithms and marketing softwares for pharmatech, for part of my career. And quite frankly, I remember back in the day, we'd get in a boardroom, there'd be like 12 people around the table, 10 men, then me, the tech guy, and one woman at at every meeting we had.
Uh-huh.
And I mean, being a female, and you know, what was in your mind? I mean, what, maybe it was the military background. Maybe what was that drive? What was that light in you that said, what? So what? This is what I really want to do. Because I want to hear that story, because to me, that's the story that people want to know. Because so many times we have self-defeating thoughts and we don't do what we might really want to do and enjoy. But you did. And then you said, I enjoy this so much, I'm going to start leapfrogging into these other areas. Tell us a little bit about that part of your life.
Sure. So, ultimately, I've always kind of been a people pleaser, and I grew up in a predominantly single parent household, and I did
Hmm.
not like seeing my mom struggle. And anytime my mom needed me, she could count on me. And so when she was able to count on me, just the spark that came across her face, the more happiness, the less of a burden that she had to deal with and face, that 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 was a motivation for me to be somebody my mom could depend on. With that being said, that was a motivation, along with the people pleasing, along with wanting to get my family out of whatever generational history that we've had. I wanted to really put us in a different position in life, and then even just to be called a trailblazer, to be the black sheep,
Hmm.
the person
Yeah.
that accomplished so many things that others in the family may not have. So and there was a lot of naysayers, and not to kind of point the finger or talk negative on my family members, but I had one family member, an older male, who said, women don't go to college, and if they do, they only go to community college.
Mm.
That was one thing that always was in the back of my head, that I hear what you're saying, but that's not going to fly. That's not enough. Let me show you. I will show you. So I found a way to take the negatives and turn it into a positive as well. And so that was something that really helped carry me along my journey, and keep me motivated and disciplined as well. Just the thought of, I'm going to show you, I'm going to do better, I'm going to be better, and I'm going to be an inspiration for others, as well as my 5 siblings that I am the eldest of. I want to show that we can do a lot more.
Yeah, I mean, you gave me goosebumps just saying that. I mean, an amazing, and one of the things that I tell people a lot of time, especially, my mom taught multicultural, non-sexist education. She is a second generation Mexican American who came into this country, and she was the first of Hispanic heritage to get a PhD in the entirety of the Midwest. So, I've always been a champion of all colors, and my thing is, embrace diversity, but let's all work towards unity. But many times, sometimes when you're not in the dominant culture of society, you know my mom taught me, she's like, son, you have to learn two games. You have to learn the inside game, and where you can either succeed or be defeated, but you also have to understand the outside game, because you can succeed or be defeated in there. Would you agree with my mom's statements?
Absolutely, absolutely. Everything comes down to you and your mindset, your perspective. I
Hmm.
think open-minded and having a growth mindset were the two biggest attributes that have really propelled me, um, just for success in the way I define success. So I'm so glad that I learned how to take criticism very well and take that and mold it into what I needed it to be to get to where I wanted to go.
And it really is amazing. One of the things that I've learned, and you might talk about this as well, is energy is energy is energy. And whether it comes at you in a negative aspect or it comes at you in a super positive aspect, the energy itself is still, it's unbiased. It's still just energy, isn't it? And I think a lot of times, the way that we interpret it, the way that we decode it, the way that we, perceive it, embrace it, I mean, that's where we fail with our energy, isn't it?
Yes, and you bring up a good point. Um, to just have an affirmation, to just have a
Mhm,
mantra, that alone is not good enough. You need the
mhm,
emotion, you need the energy, you need the action behind that. It is those things together that is what helps move you forward, helps propel you forward, helps you to obtain what it is that you want. And yeah, really just having that energy, the positive vibrations, making sure that the people I invited in my circle, the people that I allowed to, that I shared information with, I made sure that the people that were surrounded around me were positive, were growth
mhm.
oriented, were really seeking health and wealth and happiness. And it wasn't necessarily, well, you're doing better than me, so I'm not rooting for you. And mind you, I did have family and friends like that, but I knew
Yeah.
their information with. I knew who I could help and who would help me in return. I paid attention and I was very observant of the energies so that I would understand how it affected my energy as well.
And I think that that's so incredible, because like when I talk with my kids, they're like, Dad, how do you know certain things? And I said, well, you know, let me tell you, it wasn't always so easy, but I tell them the first step is to really live in that moment and use every sense that you have just to be aware. I mean,
Yes.
I mean, first step is just to be aware, because if you're 90% aware, if you're 60% aware, if you're 20% aware, that means your interpretation of everything around you is worse. You know, and that's what I kind of tell my kids. But you're a grinder too. Everything wasn't roses and cream. You had some people that were naysayers, but you probably also had some people that were great influences or mentors in your life. Can you speak to those people?
Sure. I would honestly say that my mom was
Mhm,
my greatest influencer. And I'm very fortunate and blessed to be able to say that the distinction that I was able to take any type of bad example and any type of good example, and never taking the bad and giving out bad or putting out bad, but I took both and I always put out good. I always put out positive. I always made it better. I always served. I always gave. I always put out the things that I wanted for myself, more like the golden rule: you give respect, you will get respect, right?
Yeah.
So seeing my mom's the good and the bad moments, because everyone's human, right? But I'm so thankful for that discernment. That's the word I'm looking for. That I was really able to transform and transition any moment into a positive or a better one, and use that as motivation to continue forward with the things that I.
Yeah, and you said something that really matters a lot to me, is service, and serving and gaining. And, a lot of time, and I'm sure you work with a lot of different entrepreneurs. There's probably other people that are in your medical industry, and you probably know them really quickly. Oh, they got into it because they're looking for the paycheck and the Tesla. They got into it because they really want to serve and they care about their community and the people around them. What are some of the ways that you can discern and see a difference between those who really come from that service heart-centered mindset versus those that are really just coming from a profit set get back mindset?
Sure. The the two biggest things is, the number one is their level of happiness. Um,
Mm,
Service and true wanting to give and serve, that brings just a whole other, the fact that when you get that thank you from somebody that really needed it, or you were the person that you needed when you were younger, that 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 speaks volumes. So just being happy no matter what your level of income is, that's the first thing. And then the second thing is, outside of happiness, is, the things that they're doing with their extra time. And so, like, for example,
mm-hmm.
I've worked 9 to 5 for, one day, just random scenario.
Right.
I've taken care of my self-care, taken care of my priorities, things that my son may need. But am I finding a way to give back, to visit a local school, to create an academy where I teach younger people about STEM programs, or what have you? What are the additional things that you're doing with your passions, your interests, your skills, your unique experiences, in a way that you can give back, that is not necessarily income oriented, but more so just value based, and not in a monetary way.
Yeah. One of the things I've talked about, and I really wanted to get this with you, is it and I say this again because you're heart centered. You give, you're motivated, you race on your path. But one of the things I've always said is I always look at knowledge, and knowledge is transferable. But much of the time, that we look at knowledge, we look at it in more of an academic sense. We look at it more in the IQ type of sense of, well, accounting or law or medicine. But can't we learn other things too? And this is where I really want to get some, good feedback and insight from you. Can we learn to be happy? Can we learn to be resilient? Can we learn to give more, or to strive, or to love? Can we grow that? I mean, is that something that we can teach, or is it just something that, well, if you got it, you got it, and if you don't, you don't? You know, are you know, should we pursue those things, or is it just a futile pursuit? Tell me your take on that.
Sure. Yes, we should pursue it. Yes, it can be taught. Yes, it can be learned. So this is the thing. I grew up a people pleaser, right? I knew how good it felt to serve others. And then, I sat down one day and I said, you know, I want to be served as well. I want to feel good as well.
Hmm.
And so I took time to kind of mind my gaps. And this is a very more so a recent transition,
Hmm.
with COVID, actually, where I purposely just took time to rest, to relax, no more worried about what others would think about me taking a break, about me taking time for myself, for my son. And I really took time to really mind those gaps. That's the quote that you'll probably hear me say a lot: mind the gap. I say that
Hmm.
different programs and other entrepreneurial endeavors, but minding my gaps was really, really big. And in doing so, I focused on self-care. I learned how to meditate. I learned how to just take time for myself. I learned how to give self-praise. So let me elaborate on that before I kind of go through some more examples. So I accomplished one thing on my to-do list. I take the time to say, hey, McCoy, you got this done today. You didn't procrastinate. You didn't get it done next week. You got that done today. That is something to be proud of. I learned how to celebrate myself, and I made time to do so. So celebrating yourself, right? That does not necessarily mean throwing this big old extravagant party. It means just taking time to say, congratulations, yay me, hot five to myself, pat on the back, here's a hug. You deserve
Oh man,
a job.
I love it. I
Those,
love it.
it may sound cheesy, but I'm telling you, those things are how I learned and how I taught myself how to really just love myself and be with myself and serve not only others but myself as well. And that led to a whole other happiness that I would have never imagined.
You know, in happiness, it comes from the inside, but it also can be edified and reinforced from the outside. And there's that inside outside game again. What's really interesting. I'm getting goosebumps as you're saying that, because it's just like really resonating with me, and it makes me think of the early days of Network Together. And I remember when we first started having our meetings, one of the things I implemented is when a person came up and they call them the 30-second, infomercial or intro, or 30-second commercial, and you get up and you stand out and you say, hey, I'm Robert Jones. I'm Ivan Entrepreneur Network. We're the largest entrepreneurial networking program in 20 countries, blah, blah, blah. And I brag about myself, or something. It was coming from the wrong place. It was really like, hey, my name is Robert Jones, the Entrepreneur Network, and I'm just here to serve you guys, and this is how I can do so. And the other thing that we implemented is when someone sat down, we applauded for them. We applauded for them. And so each and every one, we always applauded for them. And I remember one day, and I just wanted to do it differently. I had no idea, but someone came up to me in tears and they said, that's the first time I've ever been recognized and applauded for what I do. And it impacted me so much, because, we have superstars that can live any way they want to in entertainment and sports, whether they're good or bad. But, to have the people like us who really care in our communities, we take our kids to soccer and we sit down and we study with our kids at the kitchen table, or we just go have fun in a movie, to have those parents and those couples and those entrepreneurs come in and get applauded,
Yeah.
that was a day that forever changed my life. And I have this thing. I always say the fastest way to accelerate or change your life is to change the information that you feed yourself with, is to change the people that you hang out with, and to, find new places to seek the inspiration, for yourself with. And if you do that, there is no ending, because you've hit a lot of the touchstones of life, but my goodness, we've already are a half an hour into the show. I'm going to take a short break. Let me just go ahead and just re-announce to everyone. I got to stay on top of my time here. I am with Dr. Brittany McCoy, PharmD, MBA, MSCNC. You're going to have to explain all these things. Owner and founder of the McCoy Institute of Wellness and the co-founder of the Functional Wellness Network. You can contact her at dr.bymccoy@gmail.com. I'm so excited that she's here with me today. She's also a #1 international best-selling author in the book, The Art of Connection, 365 Days of Inspirational Quotes. I'm just going to play a short commercial and we will be right back, Dr. McCoy.
Network together. It's all about connections. Expand your sphere of influence. Build relationships. Be part of something bigger. Be part of Network Together.
All right. Again, I am with Dr. Brittany McCoy. Now, in her introduction, which she writes, the first thing I could say, she's a pharmacist, a wellness coach, an entrepreneur, a keynote speaker, of course, #1 international best-selling author. But what she puts there first, and what I think she's proudest of, is that she is a mom to her young son. So it looks like we've lost her feed for a little bit. Let me see. I'm going to play the commercial again, see if we can get her back on the show here. So just give me a couple of moments, everyone.
Network together. It's all about connections. Expand your sphere of influence. Build relationships. Be part of something bigger. Be part of Network Together.
Hi, my name is Nathan Hirsch, and I build and even sell businesses completely run by virtual assistants. That's right. No office, no US employees, just remote, non-US virtual assistants. And I recently scaled an 8-figure business with just VAs. Now, I want to teach other people how to do the same with my new venture, Outsource School. We teach you how to interview, onboard, train, and manage virtual assistants at a very high level. We also give you access to our standard operating procedures, our library of SOPs, and a tool to create and share your SOPs. Not to mention community, support, live coaching calls to help you build amazing virtual teams and avoid the issues that your competitors are probably having. If you are interested, go to outsourceschool.com. You can grab a free trial to check out what Outsource School is all about.
All right, we are back at the show. It's just me, Robert Jones, with the Entrepreneur Network radio show. We have not been able to get Brittany McCoy back into our feed for StreamYard, and if she comes on, we will get her on in a little bit. Again, Dr. McCoy is a mom, a pharmacist, wellness coach, entrepreneur, keynote speaker, and international best-selling author. She is in the second book, The Art of Connection, 365 Days of Networking Quotes. In addition to her practice, she also has started a holistic network called the Functional Wellness Network and Healthpreneur Institute. These are places where other healthcare practitioners can not only learn some of the functional aspects of their related industries, but also how to run their practices as a business, and also gain recognition through, my friend Dr. Laura Cobb calls stages, pages, and engages. She helps people, find stages to find their voice, pages to write in different collaborative books, and also engages, and that's outbound community networking, both virtual and in person. It looks like Dr. McCoy, we have her back in here. I'm going to go ahead and bring her back on to the show. All right. Hi again. How's it going?
It's going. Hey, technology can sometimes get to us, but hey, we can choose how we come back and bounce back, right?
Absolutely. It's all about resiliency, and I was thinking about that word a lot. One of the things that I found in life, and you may have found, as well, is, a lot of time entrepreneurs really do throw around a lot of words,
Yeah.
pivoting, resiliency, being authentic, leveling up. And, sometimes we hear these words so much, they start to lose true meaning, don't they?
Yes, and a lot of times that some people can just kind of throw them out and not necessarily truly mean them. So yeah, I definitely get what you mean. Sometimes words can kind of lose meaning, but that's why we have synonyms and a thesaurus, right? We can find ways to still regain that meaning, even if it means finding a new word.
And one of the things that I found, it's so easy to find information now, but
Yeah.
it's also so easy to just take that information and kind of recycle it, you know, and repackage it, and you're still hearing the same information. What I've been finding, and I always challenge my entrepreneurs, I'm like, look, guys, it's not about reading and then reciting. It's about
Yeah.
reading and almost meditating and going into a personal stories and finding your own voice with what you learned. And then when it comes out, it's actually a whole new truth, isn't it? And
Yes.
and a, a,
And
and a
the
lot.
thing is, all the
Mhm.
go ahead.
Yeah, and I was going to say, and that's the difference, because I think if we just go from read to recite, there's no
Yeah.
involvement, there's no activity in it. But if we go to read, believe, conceive, and retrieve, and then recite, I think it manifests in a whole different manner, doesn't it?
Yes, right. Yes.
We're having a little bit of trouble with the with the feed right now. What I want to do is, because I want to get this part of the show, you have a couple of and I was talking a little bit about it, Dr. Brittany. You have a couple of organizations that you founded. One of them is the McCoy Institute of Wellness, and the other was the co-founder of the Functional Wellness Network and the Healthpreneur Institute. Tell us a little bit about the mission and the vision of your Institute of Wellness, so people kind of see, how you help others kind of find their path.
Sure, sure. So I offer a number of different services with the McCoy Institute of Health. Just to list a few different services: weight loss, diabetes management, drug-induced nutrition deficiencies. There's a lot of things that people are unaware of, and so I have individualized programs with that. But then I also have group programming, and my newest program is the Bio Academy, which is Beauty Inside Out. And so we focus on beauty and nutrition. And so, for just one random example, a lot of people, there's a lot of hype around collagen, right? So I really go into details with that program, where I really educate the audience about collagen and the sourcing and how to evaluate quality, and how we can really utilize that in a nutritious and healthy and safe way, just by ingesting it, for example. And we just really tie in just beauty aspects and how we can really take care of ourselves from the inside out, as well as a personal development side. And so that's a 3-month or a 6-month program, depending on what fits or suits. That is where I serve a population for beauty and nutrition. So really, it's a focus on just beauty and on the inside and outside, and it's really starting with yourself rather than going to someone else. It's really advocating for you to really be your own guru or your own doctor in a way, as far as the things that you can manage and control on your own.
And speaking of words, we talked about authentic and being resilient, and I had actually worked for a company called Chanel, handbags and fragrances, and I ran a boutique. I was a boutique manager, and I remember at the time that I worked in there, the word beauty was really being attacked. It was a negative word. It was something that you couldn't say. It wasn't something that you can believe in. It was, becoming taboo. And, when I learned beauty and learning from Coco Chanel, beauty wasn't meant to be, just the most physically fit, or the one that gets in, on the cover of magazines. And Coco Chanel, I mean, she was pretty, but she looked at beauty in the same way. Beauty was a concept of belief. It wasn't a concept of photographic relief, like, you're better than anyone else in the room. And you know and I think what I'm starting to hear recently again is we're starting to redefine and actually go back to the original meaning and intent of what beauty should mean and does mean. And that's when you said that word, it reminded me of that. Tell us a little bit deeper in your words, how do you resonate with the word beauty, and how is it reflected with those you coach?
Sure. So I really like to tie in my actual unique experiences to really coach this program. And so I really thought about just, being a minority and being growing up out in the country, and just the different diversity issues that comes with that. And then finding yourself a young person, not necessarily fully loving yourself, fully appreciating who you are, no matter the flaws, no matter the imperfections. And then the way that I utilize my experiences to transition me into what I have now found for self-care, self-love, self-awareness, all those different things. And I really tie in an experience where I utilize action items for journaling and personal development, and where I really tie in those different things to help the different individuals, just kind of go back and recollect on how they grew up and the things that may have made them feel insufficient. And we find a way to kind of bridge that gap, and to do more than put a Band-Aid on it, really do
Yeah.
the inner work, really do the shadow work, and really find, find that forgiveness, find that resiliency, find that common ground where we accept it is okay, and now it is time to move forward and really find that love for myself, because it is me, myself, who should be a priority. My health should be a priority. How I feel about myself should be a priority, so that I can be 100% for me, my family, my friends, my job, and all the other responsibilities that comes with being a human being, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And and really, I think you brought it up before. We've gone through over 2.5 years of COVID, and it really has, in certain ways. Shakespeare has a quote that sometimes greatness is thrust upon us.
Yes.
And I feel like in many ways, greatness was thrust upon those who wanted to persevere and sustain and thrive, even after all this. And I came out with kind of a 3-point approach on what successful people look like after or as we're coming into this new normal. You know, People want to have fun again, Dr. Brittany. They
Yeah.
really do. They want to smile. They want to high five. They want to see each other. You know, I mean, like me and you, I can't wait till someday we just get to hug in person. I don't care. We're going to hug in person. We're going to hang out. We're going to
It
have
would
some fun. We're going to talk.
hopefully it happens at the Unchain Yourself women's conference.
Abs-
So
Well, I will be serving you and everyone else there, because everyone, I wanted to bring it up. Dr. Brittany McCoy is our keynote speaker of the event. She is the one, to come see. And so I'm really excited. I believe you have an hour of talk time. You'll be there, for the day. You will be there to be able to instruct, engage, entertain, meet with, have one-on-ones, a little counseling, coaching on the side. I'm sure you're going to do it all. So I'm really excited about that. But the other thing that we found is, with entrepreneurs having fun, they also want to see themselves a part of family again. All of a sudden, all the social conventions were broken and taken away. And it kind of gives you insight. I like being around people. I like having a certain amount of freedom. It wasn't so bad listening to the person that I talked to across the room, or whatever, when I go out and
mhm.
hang out. But I think the biggest thing that I found, in terms of self-care, is it gave us a little bit of respite at times,
Yeah.
so we could self-examine and I use that word, awareness, so we can start searching for what feels us again at the personal level. Wouldn't you agree?
Yes, you are absolutely right. COVID was such a blessing for me. It really gave me, a lot of people would look at that as a failure. Oh, I didn't do this, I didn't do that, what have you. But it was such a blessing to just find a way to just be fully present with myself and show up for myself so that I could show up for others. And man, it's your perspective. You could see this as a failure. You could see not getting first place as a failure, or you could use it as a lesson and say, okay, I didn't get it this time, but how can I do better? How can I reevaluate myself? How can I observe my competition? How can I take the things that I like about the other candidate and apply it to myself? So it's really about perspective. And here's another big word that I absolutely love. It's about reframing.
Mm.
Reframing how you perceive or how you look at something. So it could be your glass is half empty or your glass is half full.
Oh,
It's your
I
choice.
absolutely, it's your choice. And you reminded me of another something. Diversity is key. I mean, one of the things, my dad, he was a mathematician, and like, math was his playground, and he always said, you know, what makes math wonderful is not the sameness of it, it's the diversity, the differential of it, the coefficient of it, the inferences of it, the ability to make, educated guesses and assumptions and learn from things. I mean, I am not in society to try to make everyone alike. What I'm in society, it's like, for me, what I learned from him is, we're in society, and I said this before, to embrace that diversity and work towards unity, because that's where the greater good comes in, doesn't it?
Yes. Oh my gosh. And now I have to go down a rabbit hole. Just one
Okay.
quick second. I usually don't do this, but I have to. So you brought up math, right? So, and this is the thing about perspective and reframing, etc. All the time I hear people, yeah, they made us do all this math in school and now I don't use it. This is one thing I told one of my younger cousins not too long ago. I said, instead of walking down the street, making a right at the stop sign, and walking to the store, you just cut through the neighbor's yard to go to the store, don't you? I was like, I've seen you do it, so you've done that, right? I said, so you're telling me you're not taking the hypotenuse of that right triangle to go to the store?
Yep.
And that was my example of showing her perspective and reframing and finding a way to not see it as a failure but as a valuable lesson and apply it to your life.
It absolutely. And like one day when can I share a story with you as
Yeah.
well? I remember when I started getting into this business of putting together events, and I Sean and I were like, we probably only were married like about a year at that time, so I'd only been doing events for like 2 years. And, we'd have events, in the Phoenix area, and we'd have 300-400 people come in, and they'd all be there. We'd have to get these really big venues, and we did these day events. And I remember one day, at the exclusive part of the event where the highest achievers, come into a room. And I remember Laurel Langmeyer and Sharon Lecter were there. And earlier that evening, I had stated that, and now we have Sharon Lecter. And I said 16-time international best-selling author. And I will never
Wow.
forget. She looked at me and then she looked at the audience. You know what she said?
What?
17. And I remember I was just like, I was so excited because know your math. And I
Yeah.
remember when I sat down and I had Laurel Langmeyer on one side, and I had Sharon Lecter on my right side, and then my wife was kind of across, and she was like shaking her head like, oh my God, poor guy. And so they were like either side of me, but I wanted to learn. I was fearless.
Mhm.
And I asked Sharon, I said, I don't want to sound ignorant, but I need to know, is there really a difference between 16 and 17?
Yeah.
And she said, it's the same difference as having 16 or 17 children.
Yeah.
And then she told me, she said, the reason why entrepreneurs fail is because they don't know their numbers. And man, if math doesn't exist to help
Yeah.
you, then accounting doesn't matter, bank statements don't matter, right? The ledger doesn't matter, etc. It really, really is an important thing that we all need. We don't need to be a PhD in math, like my dad, but we need to have an understanding enough that it can work for us or against us. And I think that's the real rule that we need to use when considering math in our lives.
Yeah. You're absolutely right.
You know,
And that was a great share. Thank you. Yeah.
so tell us also about your functional wellness network and also the healthpreneur network. I like that word, healthpreneur.
Yeah, sure. So let's start with FWN, Functional Wellness Network. Functionalwellnessnetwork.com is the website. And we are a group of over, at this point, we are about a little over 300 different healthcare professionals, and that also includes health coaches and wellness consultants as well. But we have a number of different physicians, pharmacists, chiropractors, a big host of different healthcare professionals, and we are concerned with root cause medicine.
Hmm.
So we're not concerned with just covering something up with a band-aid or just handling just the symptoms. We're really wanting to hone down onto what exactly is the root cause to your illness, to your disease, to your condition, and how can we work towards really rectifying that so that we can really get you to a place where you have a good and optimal quality of life for your age and things that you have going on. And so we really hone in on the Biophotonic Scanner, which was invented and patented by the National Institute of Health. And what that does is it measures the largest class of antioxidants called carotenoids. And this really is like your alpha carotene, your beta carotene, your zeaxanthin, your lutein, all these different antioxidants that we get from our fruits, our vegetables, our herbs, and our spices. And that device measures carotenoids. And so it's really like a lie detector test for your diet and lifestyle. And we have over 1,000 clinical studies, even over 109 double-blind placebo-controlled trial studies, where we clinically validate the tool, supplement use, nutrition, and we really dive into really trying to hone in at the root cause of whatever the situation is for that individual client or patient.
Well, and I think that that's what's really needed. I mean, we have assessments in almost every area of our life, but one of the places that we don't really have true great underlying, assessments are the physical of self. And it's
Yes,
almost like you're having like a health line scorecard where you can identify, all these factors, and you're able to grade out on these factors and see if there's any deficiencies, or seeing if, someone might be getting too much of things in diet. Because that's the thing, it's not just deficiency. Some people actually put too much of something in their diet too. You can overdo things,
absolutely.
right? I
Absolutely.
mean,
And then it's not even you are what you
hmm
eat, you are what you drink, but you are also what you absorb. And that is
yes,
not limited. That is not limited to, one thing. That could be environmental toxins. That could be how much TV you're watching. That could be all these, sodas, and lead could be in your paint, for example. All these things we need to consider because health is in fact wealth. And you have to be there and show up for
absolutely.
yourself so that you can show up for others.
I see Kimberly. I love Kimber. She's on here and she's like typing away with us here, and she will enjoy this. And I'd hurt my back, and I'm kind of putting myself back together. But one of the things, I've always been an athlete. I've always eat right. I've always drank right. I've always been like, just the healthiest guy in the world. And this last year has been just so hard for me. I broke my meniscus about a year ago. It was not diagnosed. Then I got COVID, and it took me 9 months before I got to my surgery. And so my whole
Hmm.
gait of my body is off. And so I think of myself as like the hose on the side of the house, and it's crinkling, Ron. And so my
Yeah.
body's all, mushed up and everything. You know, but but earlier I kept thinking, like, I should be feeling healthier than this. I should be feeling healthier than this. And this is something that people just don't think. Like you said, you can drink the right stuff, you can breathe the right air, and you can eat the right food. But if all of a sudden you're putting on the wrong soap, and you're brushing with the wrong paste, and you're putting this
Yep.
wrong laundry detergent and dishwashing detergent, all those toxins come into us anyway. And I was suffering from fibromyalgia. I was suffering from chronic migraines. And I look at myself as a fit person. It's because, you know, the complexity of environmental situation is so much more than what any layperson can possibly perceive. So I was thinking, like, I had every factor covered, and then all of a sudden, well, dummy, it's the environment.
Yeah.
You're going out to these, big stores, and you're bringing in the toxins in. And guess what? I call it, there's a difference between cure care and treat care.
Yeah.
And let me tell you
Absolutely.
that, and I don't want to get in trouble by naming any, of these, big box things that you can find at Target and Walmart. But, treat care companies, they love you to keep putting that stuff on your body, because you have to keep coming back for more, don't you?
Right. Yes. So, and you bring up a good point. Gosh, I could go down so many other rabbit holes again here. But look, whatever your favorite soda is, guys, if you will notice the, gosh, I don't want to throw out any names, but one
I
soda
know.
here is not the same soda in Europe. They
Yeah.
have banned hundreds of products that we still have that have clinical evidence and clinical validation that is completely harmful, and yet it is still in our foods, our drinks, in the preservatives, in the additives, all those different things. And you would think that things would be much more regulated than it is, when that in fact is not the case.
And the other thing that we do in this country is, we change the name, or we change the child, and then we slap it on some other thing, because there's only so many lives, and they just keep living on the shelf life again and again. And I say that, and this is why I can't wait to get you on another show, because I really want to have a whole show on this. My last gig, because I was a computer programmer and coder, and I worked from, a couple of multinational corporations. They're in the farm tech industry. And so I was on the side of utilizing marketing technologies to get their products out there. But it wasn't a cure care industry. It truly was, cloaked as a treat care industry. And I still remember, I didn't quit that day, but was within 2 weeks, the CEO, standing up in that room and pounding that table. And he said, we need more sick people. And I just remember sitting to myself because we didn't make numbers. We didn't make our numbers. And I thought, the problem in this country is, the AI, the computer programming, the way these big institutionalized medical practices operate is they're operating, without the emotional quotient of the person across the table.
They're worried
And
about the bottom line.
they're worried about the bottom line. And that is something that I have been working in my organization. I've been working tirelessly since the day I left to just get people to create a whole new awareness for themselves, because at the end of the day, it is always about choice, isn't it?
Yes, it absolutely is about choice. And I know for a fact, even going through school, all the schooling I've had, I still made time for the things that I wanted and needed and the people in my life. It was hard. There are consequences, but you certainly can make time for the things that you want to make time for.
Well, I tell you what, I mean, every once in a while I can go for that Kit Kat, but I just don't make it a habit.
And so, okay, so then let's kind of dive down that hole for a quick second.
Yeah.
We're human. Even when I'm coaching my patients and my clients, I'm not trying to change your diet in 1 week, even in 1 month.
Yeah.
We take it one step at a time. So it's okay to be human. It's okay to enjoy your sweets. But at what quantities? And the thing is, you can enjoy your stuff, but how are you supplementing?
Right. I absolutely agree. Again, I'm here with Dr. Brittany McCoy. She is the founder
Yeah.
of the McCoy Institute of Wellness and co-founder of the Functional Wellness Network and Healthpreneur Institute. Dr. Brittany, we are about already an hour's gone by. We're about at the end of the show. I'm going to put your information across here, and boy, this could be a 3-hour show as far as I'm concerned. I'm just starting.
Yeah.
But here I am. She is owner and founder of McCoy Institute of Wellness and the co-founder of the Functional Wellness Network. You can contact her at dr.bymccoy@gmail.com. Dr. McCoy, what are other ways that people can reach you so they can get in contact with you?
Gosh, LinkedIn is the number one place for me. If you don't have a LinkedIn, get one, for one. But for two, LinkedIn, you can find me with my full name and my credentials, Brittany McCoy, with the comma, PharmD, comma, MBA, comma, MSCNC.
I also want to put up here again the Unchain Yourself Professional Women's Conference. You are the keynote speaker at this event. You will be introduced by, I'm sure, Sean, even though I'm going to try to nudge her out of the way, and I'm going to try to introduce you. So we're going to see how that's going to go at her event. I would be so happy to even introduce her to introduce you. That would be it. So
Yeah.
just tell us really quickly, are there any secrets or any tasty morsels that we might get to learn about right now that you might bring with you at this event?
No, but I will bring a workbook, and I will definitely make sure you have something to take home.
All right. Well, I love it. Well, again, I am with Dr. Brittany McCoy. She is a mom, a pharmacist, a wellness coach, an entrepreneur, a keynote speaker, our keynote speaker at the Women's, Unchain Yourself Professional Women's Conference coming up on July 28th in Gilbert, Arizona. So you're flying in for this. I am so excited about that. Plus, love that your family has military in history. I was a 6-year Marine Corps vet. So, love our military. We just got through
Thank
Memorial
you for
Day.
your service.
Thank you so much. I love to serve. I can't wait to get to meet you in person. And any final words before we go?
Gosh, no, I'm thankful for the opportunity. To the audience, I look forward to seeing you guys at the Unchain Yourself Professional Conference. Such an honor to be here, and I'm so thankful for the opportunity to interview here on your show. So thank you.
Well, Dr. McCoy, thank you so much as well. And thank you for making time for us. It's probably, 6:30 at night out there in North Carolina, isn't it?
Yes, that's correct.
Well, go home, see your son, have a good time. And you know what? Let's talk again, and let's get you back on the show so we can have some more great discussion about, really how to be a holistic person, a holistic entrepreneur, and really just a holistic human being in every way. Thank you so much for being on the show today.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Again, I was with Dr. Brittany McCoy. What a fascinating interview. I'm so glad she made time for us today. Like a true entrepreneur, she improvised, she overcome, and she adapts. She was in her car to be with us today, and I want to thank her so much for being that. Remember, you can come to this show each and every week. It's from 2:30 to 3:30 PDT. We're on California time, even though we're in Arizona, because we're that crazy state of Arizona. We are mavericks where we just can't stand having a time zone. You guys all take care. Until next week, make it great.
You've been watching the iNetrepreneur Show, a production of the iNetrepreneur Radio Network, with host Robert W. Jones. Join Robert each week as he visits with new and exciting guests who inspire, teach, and mentor entrepreneurs worldwide. Follow Robert each Thursday at 1:30 p.m. Pacific, 4:30 p.m. Eastern, and 8:30 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time.